One could watch this and think that you really hate Sean Combs.
Why would they be thinking that?
Because of the things that you post on Instagram,
Yeah,
because of the...
Look at this. And let's stop for a second and do say that I hated him enough to hire his kids. And we've never done anything to each other.
I go on my Twitter and I see people saying, you look like you have AIDS, you should go die. I don't understand how I dedicated 22 years of my life to my fans, and now they turn on me.
Do you regret ever getting involved in...
I didn't have a choice. It got bad when I was about 15 years old, because when I did MTV Cribs, the day that I had to go show off that house, my mom and my dad told me, we're getting a divorce, but you still have to go do this. I had to go show off all the stuff my whole life that was going to be taken away from me.
Aaron Carter begged for help in front of the world. He begged for financial support to help get him a private security team to keep him alive. He said on numerous occasions, if anything happens to me, I promise you, I am not suicidal. And no one said anything.
Silence breaker for my brother, who is a and they're after my life. My whole family is after my life, and they're setting me up. And Sony Records owes me $3.5 million, and they don't want to pay me, and it would be in their better interest, just like Michael told me. They owe me money, and they're trying to off. And I'm begging you, and I'm pleading you, help me raise $100,000 as soon as I can, so I can move to an undisclosed location where I am safe. They had cops come and check for a rope in my garage, saying I wanted to hang myself.
Right from the start, something about this story doesn't sit right. Because this isn't just about fame, and it's definitely not just about controversy. For years, Aaron Carter was speaking, reacting, breaking down in front of the world. And somehow, it all just blended into background noise. What makes this harder to ignore now is that none of it was hidden. It was all happening in real time. So the real question isn't just what happened. It's why nobody truly stepped in when it mattered the most.
Developing news tonight. Pop star Aaron Carter. Aaron Carter.
That goes a little something like this.
The 34-year-old was found dead.
Has died at the age of 34.
Sing it loud!
Authorities say he was found in his bathtub.
He had been grappling with substance abuse for years.
I mean, this is my first podcast interview ever.
What?
I was Aaron's twin. We have our own bond. I'm just at a place now where I want to tell our truth, change the narrative for my family. We were just such playful kids. There was the 5 of us. There was a lot of love. Nick, he was discovered by my mom in the backyard. Oh my gosh, he can sing. That's how he joined the Backstreet Boys. Aaron really idolized Nick. He wanted to be exactly like him. At age 7, he started singing. Working like an adult, innocence stripped away from him. Things were really chaotic at home. No boundaries. Divorce was brewing. And then we all got into drugs.
Behind the fame, behind the success, there's a completely different story unfolding. A child stepping into an industry built for adults with no real boundaries and no real protection. And when you look back at it now, it doesn't feel like a sudden downfall. It feels like something that was slowly building for years, because when innocence gets replaced, always show immediately. Sometimes it waits.
Your father and losing him, and then yet earlier you acknowledged that your father had put a gun to your head and fired it.
Sean Diddy Combs has been swimming in both criminal and civil law.
What? Wow. Talking about a transition. Man.
Ever since he got indicted, and the storm doesn't seem to be letting up anytime soon. Recently, another wave of accusations has just been leveled at him, this time a staggering 25 lawsuits alleging inappropriate relationships with younger individuals. And while the whispers about his past connections with Justin Bieber and Usher during their early careers have been making rounds in the past months, a new shocking name has entered the conversation: Aaron Carter. Aaron, who allegedly first met Diddy at just 9 years old, is now being linked to allegations that have sparked heated discussions across social media.
This is where things start to shift, because now it's no longer just about struggle. It becomes about signals that seemed emotional at the time, but now feel like warnings. And when those warnings start connecting with bigger conversations, that's when everything changes. Because suddenly, it's not just about one person anymore.
another layer of darkness gets peeled back. But the way things are unfolding for Diddy, this might just turn into the scandal of the century.
I just want to make everyone happy and just love and do my music. Do you honestly think that that's the devil?
You know, I know who Aaron Carter is, but I don't at the same time. I forgot what it was that he actually did. But I believe he came from one of those, was it like a Disney show or something like that? I believe so. Because he has a brother, yeah.
Definition of a meth head and a crackhead, teaching my niece her first dance moves, making music on my bed.
Aaron Carter was once the golden boy of pop, a wildly talented child star whose meteoric rise to fame was nothing short of remarkable. He was only 9 years old when he dropped his self-titled debut album, captivating audiences everywhere and securing his spot as one of the biggest child stars to ever grace the music industry. Carter was tipped to do great things and have a long, successful career, but as bright as his star burned, it faded just as fast. Fame at such a young age can take its toll, but there was so much more that contributed to the downfall of Aaron's career. Several insider sources have suggested that Aaron may have been a victim of manipulation and the toxic culture.
At one point, he had everything: fame, recognition, success. But the reality behind it tells a different story, because early success doesn't always come with stability. Decline sometimes comes with pressure, control, and expectations that never slow down. And when people start talking about manipulation or toxic environments behind the scenes, it forces a much deeper question. Was this really just a personal downfall, or something much bigger?
Yeah, staying strong. It's been 8 months of a lot of turmoil and back and forth. But at this point, I think that I've got it under control. I'm doing everything that I need to do, and just focusing on my music, which is I love. It's my passion. And really just, taking care of my aftercare, and
which consists of what? The care. You're doing what you have to do. So what does that mean to you?
Basically, a lot of people in the news, there's hundreds of posts from media, and they all said, that I'm in rehab, right? That's not what's happening.
You're not in rehab?
No, I'm not in rehab. I'm in an outpatient program that is just meetings. So it's NA meetings, AA meetings, just so the judge can see that I'm taking care of my aftercare, almost coming up on 5 years clean.
But does it help? Does the aftercare, does it help? You say you're just doing it for the judge, but
being an addict, you have triggers all the time and triggers around you, and it was helpful. I agreed with the judge. I thought I think what he.
Do you need rehab? Like serious rehab?
No, not at all.
Okay.
For what?
Clean 5 years.
Clean 5 years. I don't really smoke weed anymore. I was and I still am a big cannabis, advocate, and it helped with my eating disorder, because I have anorexia.
Yeah.
But now you can see my,
Yeah, you look good.
I've kept I'm 165 pounds, and when I checked into rehab last time, I was 117. Same weight that Michael Jackson died at, actually. And
117 pounds.
Yeah. I got my weight up and I kept it the whole time. I've managed to turn my life around, be able to purchase houses, flip houses, be a real estate mogul, do touring after all the...
So you're buying and flipping houses, huh?
Yeah.
And I see that this one is
for sale right now.
Is up for this one's up for sale.
Yeah, so Christy Olympus is my she's like my big sister. But she's my real estate agent. She got me to my first house, which is only like about a mile away from here.
Yeah.
And then flipped that one from 420 to 620, got $200,000 profit. I bought this one for 620 and we're selling it for $9.
There's something unsettling about watching this now, because on the surface, it sounds like someone trying to move forward, talking about recovery, success, rebuilding life. But underneath that, you can still feel the pressure, the instability, the constant need to prove everything is okay. And sometimes the most dangerous moments are when everything sounds fine.
But there's a lot of other stuff that's going on with that. They look at the
right.
They look at the stuff. They look at this right here, bro. first and foremost, all the companies that you have, you understand, and now I know some people have trust and have companies in their kid's name. This man never put anything in his name. Why? It's either his mother, his son, you know what I'm saying, his kid's name and everything like that. He had 18 companies that was giving him some kind of revenue. Why is nothing really in his name? Is there some kind of tax evasion? They looking at that. You understand? You got people in the industry that's been saying for years, this man is having sex with underage. So now the federal government is looking at that like, yo, when is somebody going to come forward? We got this information, this alleged information, but nobody's willing to come forward. Then they go on and say, yo, Shakur Stewart mysteriously dead. Supposed to be a self-inflicted wound. Person that had everything going for him in their life. Kim Porter dead. Somebody's car gets blown up. This guy is walking around threatening other actors, people. Somebody got to get involved in it. If it ain't the state, let it be the feds. Somebody got to stop him. He lucky that God given him the opportunity to be stopped while he's alive. Didn't have to go to hell and face that shit. He got a chance to repent now. Change his life.
You mentioned minors, you know, and a lot of people have been trying to drag Justin Bieber into this situation because there's a lot of like suspect looking videos with Diddy and Bieber in it, and you know they're making a lot of allegations.
Mm-hmm. Same way they made allegations about Usher.
And this is where the story expands, because now it's no longer just about one person's struggle. It starts pointing towards something much larger. Partos, allegations, questions that have been circulating for years. But the most unsettling part isn't what's being said. It's how long it's been said, without anything really changing.
Well, they said he died from that pneumonia.
Yes.
You know, just like Kim, just like Brittany Murphy. That pneumonia ain't no joke. Hey, every time somebody get to telling the truth about someone, whoever's been lying, they just say a little prayer and then the pneumonia comes.
Real life.
It ain't real life. Just ain't real. Real life street star. You know what time it is.
Oh no, it's all good. But Uncle Ron, Beyonce's ex-bodyguard, who threatened to expose them. Yeah, threatened to expose them. I believe in 2023. Is deceased. He's passed away.
Allegedly, that's what they are saying.
Allegedly, that is what they are saying. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they said he died from that pneumonia.
Yes.
You know, just like Kim, just like Brittany Murphy. That pneumonia ain't no joke. Hey, every time somebody get to telling the truth about someone, whoever's been lying, they just say a little prayer and then the pneumonia comes, and then A lot of people been getting that pneumonia.
When different voices from completely different places start telling similar stories, becomes harder to ignore, because at that point, it stops feeling like coincidence and starts feeling like a pattern.
Got that pneumonia, but you know, he went over that balcony. But the thing is, they say he went on his own. But there's two other things that I considered as I speculate. And this is all my speculation. None of this is true yet. But what if somebody told him he had to jump off?
Man.
What if he would have rather jumped and be pow-powed?
Right.
You know? Or maybe imminent danger was there. And
it's
that
alleged
was
that
only escape.
Right. It's alleged that he had Tootsie.
No, that's not alleged. That is a fact. There, Rook. It was found in his system in his autopsy. That's not alleged.
That's crazy.
The Tootsie, the game. Yep.
Jag, Liam Payne, his fall. There's a lot of alleged things they're saying that happened.
Multiple levels, his fall.
There's a lot of speculations.
Personal life.
Right.
Health.
What is his ties to Diddy?
I mean, all of those kids from that era, even the British bands, they all partied with Diddy. It's hard for me to truly get invested in what's happening to Liam Payne right now because I haven't gotten over what happened to Nick.
Speculation always exists in stories like this. But what makes it different here is how often the same themes keep showing up: fear, silence, and people speaking out right before something happens. And whether those connections are real or not, they raise questions that don't go away easily.
Nick's brother, Aaron Carter.
Right.
A lot of people keep forgetting Aaron Carter was begging for help, begging for independent financing, begging for security. He made it very clear Sony was out to get him, just like Michael Jackson told him they would be. And right around that time, his brother had just been accused of graping one of the girls from making the band, Diddy's entity. And they were trying to make all of that go away. And Aaron called his brother out. And then the next thing you know, he said, if anything happens to me, I did not do this to myself. And then he was gone, and they said he took his own life, just like they're saying about Liam Payne. Why doesn't anyone want to see the same thing happening over and over and over again? Because if Diddy is responsible for Liam Payne, then he is without a doubt responsible for Aaron Carter.
This might be one of the hardest parts to process, because if someone repeatedly says they're not safe, then suddenly they're gone. It forces a question that no one really wants to answer. What if those warnings were real?
You know what I'm saying? It's like 150 hugs.
And you saw him going out and meeting his fans, and you're a public person as well. And there was one instance in Harlem, and his reaction when those people
went away.
Got
in the car and said, I feel like I need to wash, like I'm dirt. That was, it show you his character.
Was that the reason for including it?
Yeah.
But there are also some people that feel or want to know, and how do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right, for 20 years, right, is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping. And
Well, just to piggyback just really quickly on what he's saying, because I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean, or people that were, anti-Sean, or people that had grievances, with Sean. There are also people that are in this series that still consider him to be a friend, still consider him, to be like a family member. And I think for those people, when you asked, the reason for them wanting to sit down, I think obviously 50's involvement put a certain stamp on the project, but I also think that the filmmaking team behind it, there was an opportunity for them to really go into great details about their story and to be heard. There were lots of conversations before we even started rolling, tape, and I think that it became very obvious to most people that we weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project. And I think that was what made people feel like this is a much more encompassing, project than just.
The 4-part series also features 2 jurors from Combs' trial who are speaking for the first time about how they reached their mixed verdict, finding Combs guilty of 2 prostitution offenses, but clear of racketeering and sex trafficking charges, both sharing their thoughts on the relationship between Combs and singer Cassie. Juror 75 describing them as. So let's talk a little bit more about Cassie and is she a victim in all this?
I believe Cassie's a victim in all this because she came in she's like 18, like 19 years old in the very beginning, so she only knows that.
The goal of what the film is trying to do is to let the audience kind of come in to ask questions like, in a trial where there's so much media coverage, before, during, and after, were their decisions, colored by certain things, and who got the benefit of the doubt?
Yeah, and do you think that hip-hop culture was on trial as much as Sean Combs was?
Not all. Look, if I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as the hip hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal, so you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or.
When 50 Cent steps into this conversation, the focus shifts completely, because this isn't just random talk or online speculation anymore. He's turning it into something structured, something people can't ignore. Instead of chasing headlines, he's revisiting timelines, bringing back moments that were overlooked, and placing them side by side in a way that changes how the story feels. And when you start looking at it like that, certain gaps become hard to ignore. Stories that faded too quickly, questions that were never answered, and situations where attention just disappeared. The documentary doesn't hand you clear conclusions, but it keeps pointing toward one uncomfortable idea, that maybe what people saw over the years wasn't the full picture. Because in that space between what was public and what was ignored, influence grows, narratives shift, and some people rise without ever being questioned.
Potentially have done different.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's gonna say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time.
I was doing security. My team was supposed to have the outside. Puff came to me the day before we were supposed to do the job there and told me that Heavy D didn't want us to do the security outside. I had 18 men ready to do the security outside with my dogs, like I always do. People knew how we used to roll. We would have the pits, the Rockwilders, you understand? We had that outside locked up. So anybody try to bum rush, anybody do that, we had the gates, the whole 9 yards. So we could stop all that. You know how people gonna get down in Harlem. You understand? So, and then when you got LL Cool J, you got Mike Tyson coming through there, and they coming through the front door so people see them. So they gonna go crazy. LL was the hottest thing out at that time. Mike Tyson was the hottest thing out that time. They got all kinds of stars and people in there already. They was coming through the back. They came through the front. And it caused the door to be bum rushed. But if they had the gates up, if they had the dogs, and with the help of the police, that shit would have never happened, bro. That shit would have never happened. I was there. I saw it. I saw Jessica run down the steps after she grabbed the money box because my man Eddie was protecting her. And Eddie's the one called me on the walkie-talkie and said, yo, Jessica just locked me in outside the gym, Gene. You couldn't go down the steps after they bum rushed the door. You understand? I had to run around the whole gym on the outside, around the gym, down the steps, run across the basketball court, and open the front door. When I opened that one door, because it pushed inside, people start squeezing through that. Then I just kept doing the doors, and people was coming in there, falling dead, right out, just falling out right there. And once they got in there, they just fell out. It was crazy, bro. It was a crazy sight.
Details like this matter more than they seem, because they don't just show events. They show how things were handled behind the scenes. And sometimes it's not what happens that stands out the most. It's what could have been prevented.
And again, I know the freak offs that his son is there. Like, it seems like he likes to get down with his kids.
Yeah. But that wasn't all. Just to hear Little Rod say, like, the boys were around. Roger Bonds talked about the children as well. What kind of parenting relationship is that? But then again, that goes back to the conversation of Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's daughter. It was all known that she was spotted in them streets with Justin, and then she was spotted in them streets with Diddy, and they all tried to sit there and pretend like that wasn't what it was. Like, I don't know if anybody has not noticed, but ever since Diddy got pinched, they've all been trying to pretend like all of the stuff that we've seen that happened, that they was all involved and didn't happen.
At this point, the story stops being simple. It's no longer just about individuals. It becomes about a system where power, influence, and silence all seem to move together. And the deeper you look into it, harder it becomes to separate truth from everything surrounding it.
I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected.
Maybe not every question has a clear answer, and maybe not every connection is exactly what it seems on the surface. But one thing is becoming harder and harder to ignore. When the same patterns keep repeating, when the same warnings keep getting overlooked, it forces people to start paying closer attention. Because at some point, silence stops being neutral. It stops being accidental and starts becoming part of the story itself. And now the real question is, what do you think is really going on here? Is this all just coincidence? Or is there something deeper that people are only now starting to see? Drop your opinion in the comments. I really want to know where you stand on this. And also, let me know, who are you really a fan of? Whether it's 50 Cent, Diddy, or Aaron Carter. Comment your favorite name loud in the comments below. Let's see who's really riding with who.